Okay, this next strip that we're looking at, it's right from your lessons online. This is different, right? Something weird's going on here. You know, you can see that it's not a normal sinus rhythm, right? So what are we going to do? What can we do? Well, certainly we can count the heart rate, right? Obviously, we can't find any P waves, can we? There doesn't seem to be any P waves here to count. There's just like a mess in between the R to R's, aren't there? Kind of like a sawtooth pattern, right? Let's count the heart rate and see what we have. So let's take our calipers and let's see if the ventricular rate is normal. How do we do that? We measure the R to R peaks across the 6-second strip to determine whether or not the R to R intervals are normal. So let's go ahead and do that. There's our R to R. There's our R to R.
Regular.
Okay, regular. Somebody's saying regular. Good. R to R. They kind of look regular, don't they? But we still have to do our due diligence by what? Measuring, right? We have to measure. We have to. So the R to R's are normal. We can measure that. We can say R to R intervals are normal, i.e. ventricular rate is normal. What else can we do with this strip? We can measure the QRS distance, right? We can also measure the heart rate, can we not? Can we measure the heart rate? Sure we can. So how do you want to measure it? You want to count the big boxes or the small boxes? It's up to you.
Both of them the same, small boxes on the bed?
Well, it's going to come out a little different. I use the small boxes because to me it's more accurate. So, all right, let's find one that lies right on the line, like this one. Let's see. Oh, gosh. None of them really set right on the line. But let's look at this one. 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'd say 18 because the first one is not completely on the line, right? 18 into 1500 is what?
83.
83. Is that normal?
Yeah, no. Yes.
The heart rate's normal. 83 beats 60 to 100, so 83 is normal. Good. Let's measure the QRS because that's about the only interval that we can measure. We can't measure PR. We really can't measure QT because P and Q, P, R, and T, right? No, P, Q, no, there's a Q. So P and T, they're buried somewhere, right? They're buried somewhere. I see the QRS, but the P and the T, they're kind of like buried. So let's measure the QRS, see if that's normal. So set it up on the Q. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, overlap it. And we said that the QRS should be between 0.08 and 0.12, correct?
Yes.
All right, let's take a look. Let's move this down so we can read it a little bit better. So that apparently looks like about 2.5, 0.08, 0.09. Is that normal?
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry. You're never going to be spot on. You can't measure that small. These demarcations don't get smaller than 0.04, except maybe guesstimating a half of that. So everybody's measurements may be off by 0.02 or so, and that's okay, as long as you try to read it the best you can. So we said about 0.09. Is that normal though for QRS? What's QRS say? 0.08 to 0.12. It's normal, right? 0.09 is normal. Heart rate's normal. QRS is normal. So what in the world is going on here?
This is more than 20.
This is called,
Flutter?
okay, a flutter. Yes, excellent. Good job. Good job. A flutter. A flutter. Atrial flutter is the name of this rhythm. Okay? This rhythm is called atrial flutter. Can I tell you something? When we look at atrial fibrillation, you will see the glaring difference between A flutter and A fib. I'm going to show you that in a minute. You'll never mix it up. I have a lot of students that take our online program throughout the U.S., and they'll call me and they'll say, Nancy, I'm really having a hard time with A flutter and A fib. And I'll say, here it is. A flutter will always be even from R to R. The R to R's are always going to be evenly spaced. With A fib, on the other hand, you're going to notice a glaring difference, and I'm making a generalizing. Obviously, there are exceptions to all the rules. However, with A fib or atrial fibrillation, the R to R's are not even. They're chaotic. Some are small, some are large. Some I can't see from there. I am not Superman. I am so sorry. I would jump for joy if I could see from here to there, that small rhythm. But we're going to look at it in just a minute. I think I know the rhythm to which you are referring, okay? So, atrial flutter. Now, let's continue. Let's see, we did atrial flutter. We did the normal sinus rhythm. Okay, how about this one? Take a look at this one. Wow. Can anybody say wow?
Yeah.
Wow, right? Yeah. Okay, let's take a look. Let's ask ourselves the same exact question. See, what I'm trying to do for you guys right now is to help you think on how to critically, mentally process each of the rhythms when you sit down to do this on your own. When you go home and you open your test and you take this test home, you're going to say, what? Everything seems so easy in class. What am I looking at now? I don't know anything. I don't want that to happen. But if in case it does, you can always come back to another lecture. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this. The first thing we're going to do is figure out, we're going to look at it. Let's inspect it. Inspect it. Like Inspector Clouseau or Columbo. Say, okay, is there a P wave for every QRS? Yeah.
Yes.
R to R's. Well, no, stop. Is there a QRS for every P wave?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So now we know that it's a sinus rhythm because the P wave starts where? In the sinoatrial node, right?
Yeah.
The pacemaker of the heart. So it's sinus, but it looks really what? Slow. Brady, yes. Very good. All right, so let's go ahead and measure the heart rate, because I know you guys are just dying to do this, right? You're probably doing this as I'm talking. So I'm going to take my calipers. We're going to put them up here. I'm going to put it on the R peak. And then I'm going to go ahead and stretch them out. Look at that stretch. And we're going to see if they're regular. Okay? All right, regular. Well, the R to R's apparently are regular, aren't they? Okay, let's do P to P's. Then we're going to count the heart rate. Here's P, peak of the P, to the peak of the P, P to P, okay, P to P, yeah, and P to P. So what can we say about the P to P's and the R to R's? The rate is what? It's regular. But is it normal? Well, we got to find out what the heart rate is first, right? How do we do that? Let's just count the big boxes, because there's just so many big boxes, right? So let's go. This is almost right. This is right on a solid line, isn't it? So we can count this. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8. Almost 8.
So
7.75, I would say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's past a half. More like 7.75 into 300.
something less than 50, 42, 45.
Well, that you're You've got to be right on the money. You have to have a verifiable number. You can't say it's 38. Wow, 38.
It's mean ready.
That's profound bradycardia. That's almost like ventricular pacing. What do we say? 300 divided by what? 7.75? 38. Yep. Let's count the small boxes now, shall we? Let's go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, into 1500? 38 again. So we're right on the money. 38. Good gracious. Good gracious. That is a slow heart rate. Now, we said the sinoatrial node inside the right atrium is the pacemaker of the heart and beats the heart between 60 and 100. Sinoatrial node, even though this is a P wave, it's a sinus, it's originating in the sinus, something's wrong. Something's affecting the SA node, right? Communication is somehow misconfigured. We said that the AV node beats between what, 40 and 60, but this is below the AV node, right? So below the AV node comes the AV bundle of His, which is kind of like centered in this by the septum of the heart, and that's even below 40. It's like 20 to 40. So the firing is whatever is happening right now. This is a very dangerous heart rate. Very dangerous. If someone stands up, they'll pass out. They're going to be so weak, they're just going to want to lay there. They may not even be completely conscious at 38. Depends. But if there's a sinus rhythm, in other words, if there's a P wave, then something else is going on. This could be drug induced. This could be drug induced. Narcotics, opioids, can reduce the heart rate to this. What happens when the heart rate goes down? What else goes down?
Blood pressure.
Okay. If everything's working normally, blood pressure will go down, but what else?
Oxygen.
Okay, oxygen, O2 sat. I'm looking for specifically what? Vital signs. What are our vital signs? Pulse, temperature, respiration. Yes, respiration will go down, right? Breathing. Exactly. We have to, and what's,
Short breathe.
it could be. I mean, it depends on what's wrong with the patient and what, if there is a medication that's influencing the heart rate, how are they breathing? If it's drug induced, let's say this is an opioid induced severe bradycardia, then their respiration is going to be shallow and slow. What's normal respiration, everybody? You need to know this. Normal respiration is between what and what?
12 to 20.
Okay, 12 to 20, 12 to 22, it's good. I would estimate this respiration, they're probably breathing about 7, maybe 5. We may need to give this person oxygen. Okay, there's lots of things that a telemetry technician, unfortunately. Hi, Miss Ida. No, you're fine. Go right into front of. Unfortunately, a lot of telemetry technicians don't realize the back end of what's happening with the patient. All they see are the monitors, and God bless them. They do their best. But we need to get a little bit more savvy with regard to how we interpret rhythms, because this could be distress. Obviously, this is dangerous, right? So we're going to call the nurse, we're going to call the doctor, whoever they want us to call, and say, hey, look, your patient's got a 38 beat per minute rhythm. This is dangerous.
I must give the exact numbers.
Oh, yes. You must give the
Even
exact
if
numbers.
It's supposed, or it's supposed to be the same 38. I can say 35, 36.
No, if you have to tell them what you measured, right? You can't say I measured oh, it's 35, but I'll just tell him it's 40. No, 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 no. The doctor may say, oh, 40 is okay. No, it's 38. You have to be exact. That's a good question. We can't fudge things around. That's why I like to use the 1500 rule. Do you follow me? So this is sinus bradycardia, but it's profound bradycardia. It's almost a ventricular bradycardia. Let's take a look at the P wave now. Okay, shall we? Can we look at the P wave? I want you to inspect the P wave to the Q and see if there's anything unusual going on there. So P is kind of like a flat little line. P, P. Okay, all the P's kind of look the same, don't they? So this is profound bradycardia, very dangerous. I mean, 58 bradycardia, the guy can still be okay, right? Like Robert Delicat said in the video, in the previous video, he said, you know, a 58 or 55 beat per minute rhythm may just be someone who is a well-conditioned athlete. Yeah. If you guys are well-conditioned athletes and runners, you may have a resting heart rate of 55. It's not unusual. Athletes, all your Olympic people, resting heart rates can be up like 49. The power skaters, the downhill skaters, downhill skiers, you know, these are conditioned athletes, but 38 is dangerous. 38 means that if you stand up, you're not going to get enough blood flow to the brain because this heart rate is not enough to get your blood pressure where it should be. Okay? So that is our reading on that. Okay, let's take a look at this one. You guys want to do another one? You ready for another? Yes? No?
Yes, yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
All right. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Okay, so what's the first thing we're going to do here? Somebody.
We can measure between two hours.
Okay, right. Let's take a look between the R to R's, shall we? Let's see if they're regular, right? We want to see if there's a ventricular rhythm, and we want to see if there's a what? A atrial rhythm. Man, you guys need coffee. You need like espresso or something. The Biryani's put everyone to sleep. Just want to let you know that it was so good that everyone's in a food coma right now. So I'm going to order everyone to get some Keurig dark roast. All right, let's measure the R to R's. R to R is good. 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 So it looks like what? The R to R's are what? Regular. It looks like all the R to R's are what? Regular, right? How about what are the R to R? What does it mean if the R to R's are regular? What rhythm is that? What rhythm is that? Starts with, this is a V. This is a V. Ventricular rhythm. Let's go to the P's now, shall we? Shall we? Let's go to the P's now. P to P's. Here we go. P. From the peak of the P to the peak of the P, right? P to P. 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 Do they look normal? So what rhythm is that? I don't know how to do sign language. So what's A? Atrial rhythm. So R to R's, ventricular is okay. P to P is okay. Shall we count the heart rate? Big boxes or little, it's up to you. Let's do, I'm going to do the big right here. This falls on a line, 5, 10, 11. 11, well those are small boxes, sorry. Or it would be 2. So 136, 136. What is that called?
That's mean, I mean tachycardia.
What kind of tachycardia? Is there a P wave? If there's a P wave, we call it a sinus tachycardia. So in the absence of everything else, is 136 beats per minute bad? Not necessarily, right? Not necessarily. How fast does your heart rate go if you're on a treadmill or if you're exercising? About 153 sometimes, maybe. And that's okay if you're exercising. If you're lying in bed, well, maybe not, right? So if you're a telemetry technician and you're sitting and you're watching this monitor, you're going to say, 136, I get that on the treadmill. He's fine. No, he's not. He's lying in bed. He's on a telemetry monitor for a reason. You're going to report it, aren't you? Shall we be extremely concerned at this point? Not necessarily, because everything else, well, we haven't measured the QRS, the QT, the PR, but we have to, don't we? So this is sinus tachycardia, but you're not done. Even if you told me the heart rate and you said P to P's are regular, R to R's are regular, we have regular atrial and ventricular rhythms. Okay, this is good. And you told me what the heart rate was, 136. You're not done yet because you still have to give me the QRS measurement, the PR, and the QT, yeah? Then we're done. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the QT or the QRS, shall we? Now, what do you think happens to the QRS as the heart rate continues to beat faster? What do you think happens? As the heart rate beats faster, what do you think happens to the QRS?
It's narrow.
Yeah. Yeah. It gets more narrow, right? So let's take a look at what this is. Let's bring it down. That's about 2. It's still about 0.08, so we're still normal. Let's look at the PR, shall we? Let's take our calipers back up to the P. Peak of the P, right? To peak of the R. Alrighty, bring it down. And PR we said was 0. What? 0.12 to 0.20. I've got about 3, so 0.12. PR is normal. Cool. The more normal we find, the less worried we become. How about QT? Let's go to Q. Take it to where the T starts to descend. It almost hits the isoelectric line, right about there. QT is 0.36 to 0.44. Let's go ahead and measure it. So we're about 0.34. I have, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes, so 0.32. So my QT is a little bit less, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why? Why? Pow, wake up. Get some coffee. Okay. Because the rhythm is so fast. At 136, listen to me. At 136, something's going to happen to either the PR, the QRS, or the QT that's going to reflect in their measurements the rhythm is becoming too fast. Obviously, the Q and the T are not going to be in a normal distance apart because the rhythm has what? Sped up, right? Does that make sense? The QRS was okay. The PR was okay. The QT was shorter, 0.32. That's below 0.36, right? So that would be one of the measurements that we would say, oh, that's abnormal. And that makes sense because it's so fast. This would be sinus tachycardia. If you were just to give me sinus tachycardia, I would mark this wrong. And this goes for my online students too that send me their practice tests. I'll be sending them back to you if you don't completely identify everything that we've got in here. Are we good? Okay, here we go. Okay, let's take a look at this. Now, this, we can't measure. What can't we measure? What can't we measure? Yeah, you can't find a P wave. Good. What else? Good, Noor. Very good. What else? Can't find a P wave. Can I do QRS?
Yes.
Can I do QT? PR? No, can't do a PR. What do we notice though? The pattern. This looks very suspiciously familiar. What's in between? The sawtooth. It's not as crazy as the other one, but what do you call this? No, not fibrillation. Come on. Come on, guys. We just saw the other one. Flutter. Yeah, good job. Flutter. Atrial flutter. R to R's look normal. There you've got the sawtooth pattern in between. This is atrial flutter. Now let's take a look at a atrial fibrillation. What did I say the difference between A-flutter and A-fib was? A-fib was what? The R to R's were what? No, the R to R's are not. There you go. There is atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation. Do the R to R's look regular? No. Okay, A-flutter. Watch. A-flutter. A-fib. A-flutter. A-fib. Are you guys getting this a little bit? Yes? No? Just want to get some feedback from you guys. Are you beginning to understand this a little bit? A little bit. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I want you to take out your tests. I'm going to go ahead and